Welcome to episode 159 of About the Cards podcast, live tonight on YouTube. As always, host Stefan Loeffler, adjunct Wax Twins.
Hi.
Ben Wilson at our trading cards, and I'm Tim Shepler at Big Shep 79. We are a podcast by collectors for collectors, hoping to bring you a smart and insightful podcast discussing trading card collecting. We're live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific.
10 Central.
On YouTube, Facebook Live, and Twitch. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at About the Cards. We're available as a podcast pretty much everywhere you can find a podcast. Check out the website, aboutthecards.wordpress.com. What is up, fellas? We have a very special guest tonight hanging out with us.
What's up? What's up?
Steph, you want to introduce our guest, bud?
Sure. So we got Jeff Selsky. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Oh, I spell it wrong, so that's what it is. But at Selsky on Twitter, probably a couple other places, I'm sure, but I'll let him introduce himself. Go.
What's up, guys? My name is Jeff. I'm actually not overly crazy on IG or anything like that. My main thing is Twitter. And I'm 34. I work within the sports card industry. I coach hockey. I play Magic the Gathering, which Stefan does as well. What? Whoa. I played Magic for 20 years. Sorry?
Oh, he coaches hockey and plays Magic?
Yeah, exactly.
And works with Steph?
Works with Steph? I'm not even sure about that. But yeah, I collect hockey cards as well. I've loved being a passionate hockey fan for quite some time and love what you guys do for the hobby. And even though Steph can come at me sometimes, he's a good guy in general.
Well, except for the fact he's a Minnesota Wild fan, right?
Okay. I am not.
And I have a question. As a person that follows hockey, now Ben and I really don't, do they not have like some of the ugliest jerseys or sweaters in the NHL?
Some of them, like the Pittsburgh ones.
Oh boy! Now here we go. I would say it really depends. Like from a marketing standpoint, I'm sure that's all that matters. But some of them are nice, some of them are ugly. House League's even worse. Junior A is even worse. So it's not bad from an NHL standpoint.
So before we go on, where is the accent from?
It's a few things. So earlier on in my livelihood, I had a speech impediment. Although at the same time I was in like gifted French immersion, and my family's German, so it all kind of bundles together.
Gotcha. And before we go on, you really think Steph is a nice guy?
He is. He's usually a nice guy.
Okay. We will have to agree to disagree.
Quite possibly, and I'm not saying this just because I hate certain Dallas representations to Minnesota, but quite possibly the ugliest uniform in all of professional hockey.
Which is what it is.
Because when I first saw that, it doesn't look like a Longhorn, like a skull. It looked like something else to me.
No, it's it
looks like
2003 to 2006-ish Dallas Stars unis, commonly called the Muterus.
I don't even know how you find these things.
Yeah, it looks like some anatomy piece. I'm not sure. We're gonna leave it there. If you guys are listening, you should just Google 03 Dallas Stars jerseys. So Jeff, give us a little background. Like, who do you PC? Like you said, you like hockey. You do Magic. Do you have like a personal collection of either one of those that you run down or try to hoard?
Yeah, so I've played Magic for 20 years. I started at 14. I've been grateful enough to pretty much excel on every level. I've done it all with regards to Magic, whether it be playing, traveling the world, selling, buying, backpack dealing, Ben's favorite word, investing, speculating, whatever it may be. So I have 2 million cards, 2 million plus cards of Magic, and playing hockey and coaching and all that. I've obviously delved into hockey, and I'm a big speculator as well. That being said, quantity-wise, I don't have the biggest collection in terms of like quantity in comparison to my Magic, but I have been slowly increasing that. I don't PC really anybody. I think my biggest speculation or PC is just speculating in general, and that would be players like Josh Hosang, who I've watched during his OHL prime, Anthony D'Angelo, who obviously hasn't had the most beneficial NHL career, but I still think he will be on an NHL team next year. But I have a ton of him. But it's not really a PC. I'm not the Gretzky rookies. I'm not the McDavids, even though he's a talented star. I would say the closest PC I have would probably be like Hale McCarr, just because I think he's a future Hall of Famer, and I think there's no defenseman like him from a offensive standpoint or from a defensive standpoint. But I wouldn't say I have a PC per se.
Okay. What got you into Magic? You said you started when you were 14. Like, what really inspired? Like, what caught your eye about that made you want to like go full bore?
So it's actually just like sporadically random. One day, I was out with like family, and I came across a card store, and I went into the card store, and I was like, oh, like what is everybody playing? And there was some kids playing Pokemon. There's some kids playing Magic, and I kind of like there's obviously at that point of time there's so many TCGs within the industry. And I really got like the card owner was very good. The card store owner was very appreciative, approachable. He was great. And I kind of got intrigued at a young age to Magic. At the same time, I was playing chess. So I was that type of person where even though I was doing school, I was like playing chess during lunchtime instead of like hanging out with kids. I was playing Magic in the music hall. And I just grew. Like I'm that type of person to just grow every day, learn new things every day, try to like challenge myself mentally and intellectually, and that's where Magic came to be. And at a young, like 17, I was pretty much like traveling to Germany and like qualifying for like events across the world. Yeah, there you go. And Montreal, Toronto, the States, even at such a young age, I was blessed to have the friend circle I did. I was blessed to be sponsored by a store. So I really had no financial barriers. And at the same time, I went into Yu-Gi-Oh! Because again, I was sponsored by a store. I came second at the Ottawa, like the provincial nationals in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I was playing Exodia. But again, a kid that young couldn't afford Exodia at the time. Like you just couldn't. This was like obviously 20 years ago. And there I am being so young, just like flipping cards that I couldn't afford. Well, I could in theory afford, but with the metagame the way it was, I was just like, I would literally bring a deck of Magic cards to the store, turn it into a new deck the day after, play games or whatever it may be, go to a tournament that weekend, come back, bring that deck back to the store, and then grab another one, and vice versa. Whereas a normal player, even today, you just can't do that unless you have an excessive amount of cards in your collection.
Well, that's awesome.
Now, just real quick, Jeff, I kid. You know, we've mentioned this before about, you know, we're all our own nerd kind of a thing, right? Star Wars nerds don't like Star Trek nerds, and that's friggin' awesome. That's an awesome story. And I never got into Magic because I tried to learn when I was 17, and I literally told kids, I was on the chess team in high school, right? So I was a chess nerd, and they were playing Magic before school. I was like, hey, let me check this out. Can you teach me? And I guess I misplayed a card, like the first time I'm trying to play it, and they literally laughed at me. And I'm like, I let her in 4 sports. Aww. I'm on the chess team. I was like, if you guys are going to laugh at me when you guys are trying to teach me the damn game, but you know, so that was my foray into it. But that's admirable. That's really awesome what you did, despite, you know, any kidding about being, you know, a Magic guy. That's pretty impressive.
No, I'm truly blessed. Like chess is obviously still like very, very dear to me. Magic, of course, having 2 million cards. Like you said, I was on the chess team as well. And I remember going to London, Ontario for a chess tournament, and I bombed out. Like we're talking like kids who are way, way above my level. Because this is near Toronto, and of course Toronto is like the mecca of all like tournaments and just chess in general. And I literally, at like a young age, I just pretty much bombed out at that tournament, and then went to play Magic for the whole weekend, and then came back with the school. Like I was just completely blessed at a young age to be able to do that.
Yeah, I was nice. Close to being a ranked player when I was in high school as a senior, and I went to a local tournament, and there was a couple of ranked players, and I got my ass kicked. I'm talking like if I walked onto an NBA court right now and played against an NBA player, it'd be 21-0, right? And these kids
weren't probably dunk straight over you each and every time.
I would be the little dummy you stand underneath on the All-Star thing.
He did refer to himself as a little dummy, Steph. Can we cut that?
Quote that at 10:40.
But Yeah, no, I mean, these kids weren't supposed to be that much better than me, right? And I realized the jump from where I was at to where they were at, and I figured I was pretty good. And that was the last time I ever played, other than just like, playing my dad or something here and there. It's, once you get up into that level and you start progressing, and I'm sure it's like anything, right? You jump pretty quick from amateur to not as amateur.
Exactly. Yeah, it takes time. But go ahead, Steph.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, guys.
Well, fine, sure. I was going to kind of echo your sentiments in that we went down to Austin a couple of years back at some small convention that was hosting a Tetris tournament. And did some pre-round, just anybody who wanted to play, come step up and try to register it. Swipe the floor with everyone. And, I might have walked away with the trophy. But it was definitely the most challenging people that I had played against in years.
Because you beat an 11-year-old girl at a GameStop tournament where it was just
no, actually,
you and her.
The eldest component was like a 60-year-old lady who had been playing since the original release.
You just said you beat a 60-year-old lady, and you want to brag about this. Okay, Tim, at 12-12, can we snip that?
Nope.
Yeah, no Richard Sherman jokes. So what is it like? You said you work in the sports in the hobby industry. What is that like on a daily basis to be inundated with hobby every day that you go to work?
Oh, I love it. Like just the industry, of course, in general is blowing up on a daily basis as we speak, whether it be like record-breaking sales or just like players being heard or whatever it may be. So there's always something. And it's challenging, which again, this is the same concept to me as Magic. Every game is challenging. Chess, every game is challenging and different. Every day I go into work, it's challenging, and I love it. I just love the challenge myself. And if there's anything out there that I can't do, then I'll be able to do it like the next day kind of thing. There's nothing that can kind of stop me. And I love, obviously, the hobby. I love hockey. I love sports in general, whether it be football, baseball, whatever it may be, cricket. I don't really care what sport it is. I just love just sports and the hobby in general, and working for it within the hobby, I can understand and learn so much more. So
now, I got a good question.
Hey, Steph, real quick. That's back-to-back weeks where guests talked about cricket on this show. First ever mention was last week.
Weird.
Second mention this week. I don't know. Are we going to go for 3 for 3? Go ahead, Steph. Sorry. I just had to bring that up.
No, I thought it was weird myself. But I got to ask, can you defend your Joey Gallo home run derby selection?
Okay, first thing, I have 0 cricket cards. Let's get that out of the way. Second thing, okay, Joey Gallo should not be in the home run derby. I chose him because I knew, this is my sports knowledge, I knew that Shohei was not going to do what everyone thought he was going to do. And being a much bigger built individual like myself, I had faith in Joey Gallo. Joey Gallo failed me. I didn't fail him. He failed me.
And quote that at 14.
He did. As he's walking away, he was looking at his back going, damn it, Jeff, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
He texted me last night. He's like, I'm sorry, Jeff. I'm like, I don't know if I can accept the apologies yet.
You just left him on scene.
To your point, though, Ohtani doesn't take batting practice. And there are a lot of guys who are, quote-unquote, home run hitters that enter that and fail considerably compared to other guys. And it's just a function of their swings aren't meant for the soft pitch, batting practice, home run, one after another. I was actually saying about Matt Olson, who has one of the sweetest swings, how he holds his bat so soft over the home plate, right? That I don't know if his stance you can replicate over and over and over again because it's not compact. And it takes a while for him to get it back up and get it ready and swing it over there, that just to do it over and over and over again. I did, as much as I loved watching Olsen, and I was saying it on Twitter for the last month, I don't think that his batting stance and approach at the plate, and Ohtani could be another one, and Gallo perhaps. I mean, to just go watch Gallo be able to try to smoke a 600-foot home run, was worth the price of admission, so to speak. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have put money on Gallo either if I was betting on one of the guys.
The real champ was whoever was pitching to Pete Alonso.
Right.
Because did you guys see that the pitch track for him? I mean, it was dead center. Like the guy, like it was like a perfect circle where the guy was throwing just whoever that was is the real MVP of the home run derby. He deserves a car or something from Pete for helping him defend his title. So.
Yeah, Pete did great, but like Shohei with like the frame he has, there's no way in the history of Major League Baseball a pitcher will ever win the home run derby. No way. Zero. You heard it here first. There will never be a pitcher within the home run derby.
It Zed.
Sorry?
So
I thought you guys pronounced it Zed Row.
I love that people are saying he has the sweetest swing of all time. It's like that Ohtani didn't have the sweetest home run swing in that ballpark on Monday night. If we're talking about everybody that was there, because Ken Griffey's 10 feet away from him the whole night, and people are like, "This guy has the greatest swing." And don't get me wrong, Ohtani is so fun to watch, except as an A's fan when he's not. He's on the list of guys that you enjoy watching, but you hope that they go 0 for 3. But there was a lot of fun in watching Alonso repeat.
Oh, definitely. But like a pitcher, like there's no way. Like, of course, Shohei can hit 35 home runs, one a day kind of thing, but he can't hit back to back to back to back.
Yeah,
that's a stamina thing too. You got to think.
Yeah.
You remember Josh Hamilton that one year? He should have won, but the one round he hit like 45 home runs or whatever it was, and he was just so gassed by the end he couldn't pull it out.
They need to go back to the 10 outs, not the timed, because watching these guys home run, and they're like, that's 1, that's 2, that's 3. It's like the viewer, we wouldn't know. We don't get to see the ball land because you're showing us the swing. And before, when it was just 10 outs, you got to watch the entire thing from hit.
I think it's a time thing. Is that they want to shorten that up because it's all about Manfred. Like, let's have this game on fast forward.
Thank you, Josh Hamilton. Hamilton ruined it because he just sat up there and took pitch after pitch after pitch, and 10 outs turned into 96 pitches. Not to mention the ones you're hitting out, and it's just like, we need to go back to it where we can enjoy the home run derby, because the whole thing is you've got monsters, whether it's Ohtani and his pursuit of perhaps 70 home runs. You got Gallo and Olsen. Alonso said it afterwards. He's like, I believe I'm the best power hitter in the game right now. It's like these dudes can launch it a country mile. You're in friggin' Colorado. I want to see where these monsters land.
Yeah. So I think Steph's trying to
Just
troll us
realized
here.
I was muted. I was going to say steroids and metal bats. Let it happen.
Oh.
8,000 feet home runs. Come on. and critiquing at least the broadcast. They're showing, a quick shot of the hit and maybe the ball flying through the air, but they never showed like the actual distances for any length of time, or when they did. They had all sorts of stats all over the screen, but not one that showed home run 512 feet, home run 478 feet, blah, 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 blah. Come on, guys.
And then there was a dude that flipped over the side. I think it was the right field. Yeah. I forget who was batting, and he basically fell into the staircase. It's like, I want to see the knuckleheads.
Right.
But
that's what people are doing right now. Watching this. True. What is the Cookie Monster crew?
Oh, man. That's just something internal from work that I was literally like bored one day, and I came across, like, if you look on my Twitter, I have Cookie Monster as like my header. And one of my colleagues was just like, yeah, we're making a crew because we can do it all kind of thing, eat cookies and do it all. And it just came about. And Stefan actually invited himself without my permission to the Cookie Monster crew. But now he's no longer part of the Cookie Monster crew. So it's still just 2 of us, my colleague Matt and myself. But yeah, Stefan's an honorable
How did he get
member.
kicked out?
He actually, you can go ahead, Steph.
So the reason why is because I took this as their header image, that little profile picture that they were using, and I flipped it upside down, and they apparently disapproved of my actions.
So disrespectful.
I know, and the fact that he invited himself. Now you know how he became our third.
We feel, yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's not wrong.
And also, I'm reading through this because I had Steph put some stuff together. He wants to. I'm not going to ask part of this question because so obviously you're a Pittsburgh Penguins fan. So when did you become a fan? And who do you prefer, Yager and Super Mario or Sidney and Malkin?
Well, yeah, I mean, like, what generation did you start following the Pens?
Like 2000, and this is not like the Sidney Crosby hype train here. This is
No,
like prior to, as mentioned, like I've played hockey my whole life. I didn't really understand being like a fan, obviously, at a younger age. I didn't truly encapsulate what a fan was to be. But this was literally like 99, 2000, prior to the Crosby. But I would say, like, obviously, Mario has made like the Pins what they are today. Sidney, Malkin, sure, whatever. But I wouldn't be surprised if Malkin sees the door in the near future. He's good. He's not a generational talent, though. But yeah, Mario Lemieux will, no question, will be.
So you're saying there's better Russians?
Not from Minnesota, I can tell you that.
Well, no, from Russia.
I know, but not on Minnesota, if you're referring to Kaprizov.
I might have been. No, but I mean, that's about actually right around when I started watching it more so. Our colleges started getting a little bit better, started winning national titles instead of Colorado and North Dakota and everyone else. And, you know, after losing a team, that's when our expansion team got placed with Columbus in 2000. So it's about the same time. I think we're around the same age, too.
Yeah, but like, don't like. I do like hockey in general, especially hockey. I'm obsessed with hockey, whether it be AHL, WHL, OHL. I almost prefer the younger generation, like those kind of leagues, than the NHL. NHL is fine, but it's quite slow in comparison. And the talent you can see and develop within the minor leagues, you'll see them in a few years in the NHL.
Who's your favorite young prospect in the NHL right now that's actually on ice playing?
On ice, like as mentioned, no questions asked, Cale Makar, but that's probably an obvious answer. I would say below Cale Makar, Bowen Byram, obviously Colorado as well. I would say Justin Barron. These, like, they're not generational. Like, they'll be good if they get the opportunity to play, but they could have the Josh Ho-Sang effect, in the sense of, like, Josh Ho-Sang was I would say, almost generational talent, but the Islanders chopped him, and obviously he's never seen an NHL rink kind of thing. So if the team is so stacked, similar to like Colorado, like Bowen Byram is seeing minimal play at the moment, but he might never see like Cale Makar playing time, and same with like Justin Barron and whatnot. But if you look at like Halifax Mooseheads, for instance, they are a WHL team. They are a QJMHL team. Like the amount of development they do as a team. They've had Hishire. They've had, like, I believe it's Justin Barron. They've had, like, McKinnon. Like, the amount of development they do as a team is scary. And the amount of talent that they've brought up that has made it to the NHL, not just, like, AHL or whatever it may be, but the amount of talent they've brought into the system is insane. And, like, there's Bobby Orr's who's a grandson, I believe. He's on Halifax at the moment. And, like, obviously his name would probably sell tickets, and he's quite good already. Obviously, the COVID year kind of hurt him. But I would be watching, especially for hockey fans, I would be watching the Q. I would be watching the WHL and the AHL and the OHL this coming season, because that's where you're going to see, like, the talent and, like, come up through the NHL. And you'll be able to, like, purchase their cards, invest in the cards, speculate, whatever it may be, in their cards prior to the NHL. Similar to Cole Caulfield.
Well, and that's why, you know, especially when you mentioned the teams that the players get drafted to, looking at Buffalo's roster, they have some really talented young players, but their team is finishing last in the league, second to last in the league. I mean, Middlestat, Cousins, Jack Eichel. I mean, you'd expect them to do much better than they did.
I'm a huge Casey Middlestad fan. Obviously, he's shown signs of brilliance within like Team USA. But like you said, it's those type of moments in which Casey might sign on to another team when his contract ends. And then if he actually blossoms to a top 6 forward, those rookie cards will double, triple, quadruple, similar to Tyler Toffoli. He was nothing really on LA, whether it be the team or whether it be the actual fan base. He gets traded or signed on by Montreal, and his like young gun has like doubled 2.5 times since being in Montreal. And look at Cole Caulfield. He's going to be absurd next year. Like, you think Lafreniere was bad, even though he's done nothing? Like, Cole Caulfield's going to be like double that next year, just strictly because of a Montreal fan base and the potential he has.
Well, and I mean, to other sports here, imagine Brady getting drafted by like the Detroit Lions.
That being said, it brings me to another good comment in that hockey is underappreciated and undervalued, bar none, across all sports. Bar none, not even close. Even cricket. Cricket's probably worth more than hockey somehow.
Who's a prospect that hasn't made it to the NHL that you're, or maybe a couple guys you're looking forward to, or that you've seen? Because you said you watched all the other, who's somebody we might hear of in the future?
Major junior hockey.
So as mentioned, Justin Barron, he's a Halifax player, and I believe he was drafted, but again, it takes time. Joe Veleno, Team Canada, he's unfortunately on Detroit, who is very slow at developing players to an NHL level. Philip Zadina, again, Halifax. Like Halifax, anyone on Halifax you should be watching, of course. Well, not anyone, but I would say like there's a few Halifax players every year that will succeed within the NHL level, and you might not hear of them because they might still be like top like 10 within scoring within the queue. But once they hit the NHL level, and once they develop for a few more years and their body fills in, they are monsters. Like Nathan McKinnon was never like the player he was back in the queue than he is now. And like Philip Zadina and like Justin Barron, all these players, like they were good, but they weren't like generational. And then of course they become an NHL player. They kind of broaden out in terms of filling their body, and now they're just like unstoppable. And then of course who's the kid in the Russian Hockey League, the new McDavid coming up? Come on, Stefan.
You're making me draw blanks here.
Come on,
Team
Steph.
Canada, who went off.
You think I watch Team Canada?
Holy cow! Now
I mean, when they lose, and I can brag about it.
No, you're making me sad now.
Now I'm just googling the next Connor McDavid.
Making me so sad, guys. But keep on going. I'll get a name.
Okay. What is the best card you've ever pulled out of a pack?
Sport and non-sport.
So I'm not that type of gambler. I feel like pack opening is pretty much gambling. I would rather be the person to spend like $200 on a specific card that I want, rather than buying like a NT box, for instance, or whatever it may be at that time. Obviously, NT boxes are pretty much unaffordable, and the ROI is just not there at the moment. But I would say Magic-wise, like I'm very, again, like when I go back to Magic, I'm a very big proponent of like hard to find cards, and I used to crack open a ton of like Russian boxes, which are very hard to come by and scarce. And I've opened a few big like foil Russian cards that probably equate to a few $100s each, but nothing crazy.
Connor Bedard?
Yes, Connor Bedard.
Yes. Knowledge.
So there's Connor Bedard, and there's also the kid on Kingston. Like, where is he? Hold on a second. Shane Wright. Shane Wright will be a future stud. He's on an absolutely terrible OHL team. He is tearing it up by himself. He goes on Team Canada with some help. He absolutely tears it up with Connor Bedard, of course. But Connor Bedard's good. But again, hopefully he gets to a team that can actually that's offensive minded and that can help him develop. Because at the moment he's kind of by himself in his own team within the Russian Hockey League. But same with like Brant Clark, for instance. Brant Clark is I would say not generational defenseman, but he's from actually locally in Ottawa, Ontario, and he plays for Barrie in OHL. he is probably somebody who might be similar to like a Cale Makar, not as good, I don't think. But if he gets drafted by the right team, they can develop him accordingly, and he can become a top 4 defenseman kind of thing.
Well, and there's probably has to be another setter coming along, right? I mean, because don't they have like, going to like 2 full generations of brothers and nephews and cousins and, like Daryl Sutter and all those guys, right? Like, they has to be a setter coming along at some point.
Well,
I haven't heard of one
free
recently.
agent.
What's up?
I said a suitor just became a free agent, but that's not related to the family you're talking about.
Okay. Anyway, I was being a dork there because there was like 4 brothers and they all had sons and they all made it, right? That gets kind of crazy.
Kind of like the Boone or Bell families in baseball,
right? Yeah. What are your thoughts on the league exclusive licenses that are out there right now? How do you feel?
So I'm somewhat against them. Again, I don't have really the data to kind of provide a full answer. I prefer competition. I prefer any kind of I almost kind of wish that Brian Gray had more opportunity in actually providing like a lot more better products in the sense of like not just like black jerseys for LA Kings and all this stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, non-licensed stuff. Panini is doing great, but I feel as though within the next few years, it's honestly going to become a bloodbath. I think Brian Gray is happy with where Leaf is currently, but I think Panini, I think Upper Deck, I think like I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if like Upper Deck gets a run for the money for like the NHL license. I wouldn't be surprised if like Topps gets run for the money for like their license. But I'm against it in the sense of it's not good for the hobby from a retailer standpoint, from a collector standpoint. But I'm against it obviously because it's making them exceptional amount of money.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's gonna be hard because I think the leagues look at it as like, hey, we're already making so much money, and the players' unions like, we're already making all this money from one, and when it's an exclusive, then we can juice some more because they're going to try to outbid each other, and yeah. And I don't think Brian wants to spend the money to have a license. I think he said that before, and
exactly. I think he's happy where he's positioned right now. He's obviously doing quite well. He's good with his repacks, whatever it may be, or repackaged products. But like, I hope in the near future, I'm not even sure when exactly every sport contract ends. Hopefully it's all within like a certain amount of years so they can all be quite aggressive in pursuing.
For example, Topps is I think 2025.
Okay. That being said, I would say like for instance, I think Upper Deck just recently became exclusive to like the CHL, Canadian Hockey League. And I think that's smart. And I think you'll see more of that happening within like you can't really do that in the NBA, but what about the G League? Like who has exclusivity for the G League? Is that a part of the NBA contract or is that independent? Who has like exclusivity for the University of Michigan for hockey? Who has NCAA? Like I think those will be the next in line.
Which is what I was going to say, especially with the NCAA announcement was July 1st, wherein athletes can now sign name, image, license.
What's going to break up the exclusive licenses and we're going to use Leaf as an example, is we need more Leafs. We need 2 or 3 more because you have only 4 main companies.
So we need a branch, not a leaf.
Yeah.
Hey.
But I'm thumb. So what when in an oligopoly, when you only have 4 major players and you can rank them however you want with Leaf pulling up the rear as a distant force, in order to break up the exclusivity of certain sports or certain players is you're going to have to expand and have more companies at play, all of, very similar to what we saw in the late 80s when Score came around. And then, you had Bowman as an independent company and you had,
Score,
Leaf, and then Pacific, and you had all of these companies that were involved, and then you had outliers like Broder and TCMA, and yeah, it was a wild, wild west, absolutely. And people are going to say, well, that's just going to lead to more saturation of the market. And it's like, I think what it would do, and I could be wrong, but I think what it would do is actually cause these major companies like Topps and Panini, and to a lesser degree Upper Deck, to focus their efforts even more. Because, you know, when you have 3 restaurants in your town, you have 3 options to go out and eat. But all of a sudden, when you have 10 to 12 options, you know, now the direct and indirect competition is even more fierce. And with that, now you're going to have to hire better employees that are going to offer better customer service at the restaurant level. You're going to have better cooks that are going to cook better food. You're going to have to pare down your restaurant menu to really focus on what you guys are good at. You can't have 50 items. Maybe you have 20 items, and really say, we're going to really focus on burgers and fries, and no longer we're going to offer the meatloaf and the chicken fried steak. And I think that's really, like, right now, Topps is just pissing out whatever they want, and we're going to buy it because if you're a baseball card collector, for the most part, I mean, say what you will about the non-licensed stuff from Panini and whatnot, but, you know,
come on, there's a lot that Panini pisses out too.
No, absolutely. And that's the thing, is they're the 2 top dogs. They're Pepsi and Coke, right? And there's no real, I mean, Upper Deck is there, right? But, you know, there's.
But they're not shoving just stuff out. You know, you look at what they put out, and it's more quality than quantity at this point, which is, I think, I wish all of them were able to do. I'd much rather have quality products out of all of them, and they all have a little taste of everything. I think the problem with Upper Deck is the issue with the MLB Players Union and how they did not pay them from years ago. I still think that could be a big hiccup, as like, hey, you screwed us big time once before. Why are we ever going to do business with you again? I know it was a decade or so ago.
Different management.
But at the same time, look at it and say, like, why would we even talk? Why would we even talk to you when Topps is just cha-chinging us all day long, and we don't have to? We have one person to worry about.
That's all it is.
About 4.
If you own a business, or if you're at a high level of management at a business, it's a lot easier to have one vendor to worry about than 15. You know, and Major League Baseball's got so many things going on. You think they really care about this? As long as Topps is giving them their price and taking care of the brands and the trademark, what do they give a crap? Yeah. I'll write. You give me a $50 million check, we'll put it in the bank. You take care of it, and we'll see you again next year.
Yeah.
I just think the cost of entry for any new company is extremely high right now. That's just not obtainable. And like you said, though, what happens in a few years when a Topps falls, or like a large company falls, and what happens, like Tim said, if Panini in 10 years owns everything, like every exclusivity,
they can't because there would be no monopoly laws. So somebody would step in. It's like when Dreyer's ice cream was acquired by Nestle, and at the time they owned the rights to Ben and Jerry's, and they had to sell off that brand because they were acquiring, as part of the deal, Haagen-Dazs. And so you start to see that you Frito-Lay can only own up to like 70% of the potato chip aisle. Period. They can't own any more. So if they want to acquire, you know, Laura Scudder's, for instance, they've got to offload Tostitos, for instance, right?
But so how many licenses is too many?
It's
how
a
many
license.
can they
It's
own?
not a business.
That's the thing, though. You can't be the only one producing cards. So if Panini owns all of the exclusive license, we would have to have a lawyer on to talk about the monopoly laws to see whether or not having exclusive licenses would violate the monopoly side of things. Because within an oligopoly, like you had said, Jeff, it's so expensive to buy in. That's why there's only a few car manufacturers. That's why there's only so many cereal brands, and they'll pay for the placement fees. You know, Kellogg's will out. If the 4 of us decided we're going to come up with About the Card cereal tomorrow, Kellogg's and General Mills would basically buy us out of that space before we could, even if it's the best cereal on the market. Good luck getting into Safeway. You're not going to do it because they're going to go out and push their power around. And that's what we see in the beverage industry. And that's why, you know, there's only a handful in these, because it's the way it goes.
So you're saying that no company can own 2 licenses as we speak?
No, they can probably own multiple licenses, but exclusive licenses is where it gets. Like, if, let's say, Panini bought, let's say they wrestled away the Major League Baseball license, and they've already got the NFL, and they would go out and get the NHL. I don't know that they could theoretically do that, because it would now be a monopoly on being able to produce licensed cards. And I'm not a lawyer. I know how that economic side of things work within just generalized business. Basically, the argument would be, could one company own all of the exclusives, allowing 3, 4, or 5 other companies to have non-licensed trading cards? And would that violate the monopoly, the federal monopoly guidelines or not? And again, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know. If anybody out there is and wants to chime in, got to be extremely careful when you're in an oligopoly, because there's only so many companies to go around, and market share is a big deal. And so
I don't think we'll see any changes. I think they all kind of like where, I think all of the it seems to like be all the players associations like what's currently going on. The leagues are happy with what's going on, and they're going to probably keep it pretty standard as the money keeps coming in and more cards are being sold and more people are getting into the hobby. Jeff, did you want to hang out with us for the rest of the show, or are you just going to hang out for this first part?
No, I'm here.
Awesome.
I'll bug Stefan.
Awesome.
Of course.
Well, let's get into it. The week that was last week's releases. Topps Living Week 174. We had card 429, Craig Kimbrell, pitcher of the Chicago Cubs, and card 430, Akil Baddoo, rookie outfielder of the Tigers. No numbers updated on either one of those cards as of about 25 minutes ago from Topps. So they're busy. They're busy out the All-Star game this week and traveling around with their van or their big old windowless van of cards.
Well, I mean, didn't we have this issue last year around the major the events anyway that took them a week or so to update?
Yeah. Yep. We also had 21 Topps Diamond Icons, 2021 UD Extended Series Hockey, which I might be looking to buy a little bit of. And then we had 21 Panini Luminance Football all drop last week. So that was pretty good. Hey, real quick, guys. I saw they had at the LCS, they had a 2021 like Upper Deck Rookies like box set.
Yep. I have 5 of them.
It was for like $15. Any worth in like picking up and holding on to that? I mean, I've collected, I built the Upper Deck Series 1 and 2 and working on the Young Guns, but any reason to pick up and add that to the collection?
I mean, it can't hurt. I can tell you I can shoot you a list on who's on there.
With all due respect, I would say buy that rookie set. I'm a big fan of the rookie set. Instead of the extended series, with all due respect, Upper Deck's great, fantastic, all that, but the Young Guns checklist for the extended series is so poor. Like, I understand like the whole concept behind keeping Cole Caulfield out, but keeping like Quentin Byfield out as well, it just doesn't really make it worth its while.
Okay.
Now is that just the 1 in 20 auto? The set is just a single pack that has all 25 cards.
Now to say this versus that, Jeff, is that a more of a speculative
not
argument?
Even speculative, just like value-wise. Like if you look at Series 1, if you look at Series 2, they were good, right? And I know why they kept, like, look at the checklist. Like, you tell me, if you're a hockey fan, you look at that checklist. You tell me if you know anybody on that checklist besides a few of them. You will not. You look at Series 1, you have Stutzel, you have Lafreniere, whatever it may be. Series 2, you have Cousins, whatever it may be. But, like, I feel as though they, obviously, with the hobby being so ridiculously hard right now, they can push out this extended series. And all the insert sets and all these like weird little additional sets and inserts and like scarce cards that you can open are good and all. But in terms of like the everyday box, man, it is rough.
Yeah.
Just buy like 10 of those rookie sets.
But if you're a set collector, there's value in that, though, of course.
Just buy the singles, to be honest. Wait for it to hit on EPAC. Wait for everybody to transfer to ComC. And just literally buy the singles. You will buy a set. You will. Well, I say again, I love Upper Deck. Don't get me wrong. Like Colin and everybody, they do exceptional work. But man, the ROI, and at the end of the day, when this stuff gets like mass produced, at the same time mass purchased, because everyone is trying to hit those big cards, which there are some, but the odds of you hitting it out of a box or something is not high. Yeah. Just buy the set. If you're a collector, just buy the whole set at some point for the whole value of a box.
There we go.
So just real quick, Jeff, I started giggling not because of what you were saying, but because you said wait to buy the singles on ComC. I just wanted to the shameless plug. Could I also buy them on eBay, perhaps?
You could, in theory,
We
right?
do have an eBay account.
Sorry, you said you're sticking around to bug Steph. We're
No,
not
it's
gonna
not good.
let-
It's not good.
Not this week. Yeah, hot off the press is this week's new releases. Tops Living League 175, card 431, Herman Marquez, all-star pitcher of the Colorado Rockies.
Chicago
Rockies.
I haven't seen that on ESPN or
This
the
guy.
Athletic.
By the way, my boy Stephen A. coming through
Yeah,
this week.
That
I told you all he was a fucker on the other a couple weeks ago, and
that guy.
That's not
says
quite
stuff.
what you said.
real quick, had about 98% of other people on television said what he said. He
Gone.
would not be on TV or have a job
Gone.
currently.
No.
Gone.
So what photos does he have of the ESPN uppers, the management there? You know.
Let's
Anyway,
just say this real quick. Ohtani is the best thing to happen to baseball
hell yeah!
in decades. And
I
And
had a-
internationally,
I had
since
a
maybe Ichiro.
conversation with my buddy's 7-year-old son about how cool it was to see Ohtani play both positions because he wants to do both. He wants to play the outfield and he also wants to pitch.
he is by far, and Steph, no offense to Ichiro, he is by far the most marketable asset Major League Baseball has since probably Ken Griffey Jr. And the reason is right now, baseball is horrible at
They
marketing
suck at
their
marketing
players.
Yeah.
They are horrible at marketing, right? I mean,
Like
that's
they're
not
healthy
even
or something.
not even a debate, right? And they got good-looking young kids that you know, like Lindor and Trout
You
and
can
Harper.
see their
It's like-
faces.
Yeah.
Not like football.
They have maybe the largest influx of talent that we've seen in that sport in decades collectively, right? With Acuna and Tatis. And a lot of these guys are international. And so they played it to multiple markets. And baseball just shits themselves when it comes to this.
You got
And-
Guerrero. He's a Canadian, right?
Yeah.
Like you have,
Yeah.
it's just, it's a shame to me.
And- But
Well, they play
Ohtani,
Buffalo, but
literally Ohtani doesn't have to ever say a word, ever. And just because of his on-field talent, the amount of organic marketing, that kid, his face and name is everywhere
Vladdy
right now.
Vladdy Senior didn't speak English. He always spoke
Yeah.
Spanish.
It's like
anyway.
just Ohtani
It's
is an incredible.
By the way,
face.
he does speak great English. The reason he has the interpreter is so he's not his words aren't taken out of context and that
or
It is the-
misinterpreted.
misinterpreted. It's the best version in English that he can provide, and so he does. That's why he's apprehensive, I guess, in doing it. So leave the kid alone.
And
Anyway,
yeah, he is
Dude,
incredible. It's all organic. Baseball right now has a gold mine. They don't even have to market him, and it's happening.
Yeah.
And again, Ohtani right now is one of my, and I say this from a perspective of I hate watching him play because he just
He's so
destroys
good.
the A's. And again, I've said this about so many guys like Bregman and Altuve in the past where they just destroy the A's, and he comes up and it's just like, great, what's he going to do to us now? But as you're watching it, you're
what highlight is
mesmerized.
he going to put on?
Yeah, Ichiro was that way. Felix Hernandez, I could not stand watching him pitch because you knew that it was going to be a one-hitter through 7 innings. And so when you say that, it's like saying something is ridiculous. Like, that is so ridiculous in a good way. I hate watching Ohtani because he just destroys the A's.
Yeah,
But you know you're watching something magical right now. And we get another decade of this.
Yeah, hopefully, man. Knock on wood, he stays healthy.
Yeah, knock on wood. At least as a batter, if he's got to give up the pitching, I've said this before on Twitter. Imagine his free agency in a couple of years. He'll be, I think, going into his age 29, age 30 season. If he's allowed to hit free agency, if they don't lock him up early, what it'll look like. Because are you signing him as a dual threat, or are you just saying, listen, we're going to throw 10 years at you, but you're just basically a right fielder because now you don't have to baby him with the DH.
Yeah.
It's going to be, it's good. I hope he has free agency because it's going to be remarkable to see LA and New York and maybe both Chicago's, both LA teams.
And then some Texas. Hey,
Yeah.
we ain't been good ever, but we going to give you just a Texas load size of money. Come down, play for the Rangers.
If Atlanta
We
ever
got
realizes,
Whataburger.
Atlanta ever realizes they're a big market team, if he wants to stay on the West Coast, perhaps the Giants, even the A's, if they got a new stadium.
I was really hoping the Giants would have signed him when he came over.
Yeah,
But,
gonna be awesome. Anyway,
the second card that came out this week was 432 Alex Manoah, rookie pitcher of the Toronto Blue Jays, and a big fan of his is Ken Kinsley because he's a West Virginia kid. So
to quickly recap the previous set you're talking about, so this is what it looks like. Comes in a cello.
Nice.
Nothing too fancy.
Right? It's like one random autograph per case. So just buy a case. There you go, Tim. Buy a case of that.
Some major names: Lafreniere, which you saw, Connor McMichael, not Jason, but Nick Robertson. I guess Liam Foudy, if you want to be Team Canada.
Why
Josh
do you think Team Canada?
Because he played for Team Canada.
You know, that just probably hurts Ryan
Cousins,
Cracknell too.
Condre
Like, he's
Miller,
our Canadian brother.
Nils Hoglander.
This
Owen
broke.
Byron.
By the way, there was a nice note from our buddy Cardboard Stats. The Rockies drought is broken. They haven't had a card since 3/21. It took them 110 cards to get one more player.
And of course.
So, also here we go. 21 Topps Archive Signatures Retired Player Edition. Everyone's favorite release on this show. I don't know if we had to break a case of this or if we had to break a case of Chronicles in any sport, what would be more excited about? I don't know.
Chronicles.
It's an $80 box, 1 pack per box, 1 card per pack. You're going to want buyback autograph. They have 93 signers. I did see Hank Aaron is one of the signers in this product. The one thing you'll know is that they have a bunch of different buyback cards, and they're all numbered differently, so you don't actually really know how many and what versions of what card are out there. But Hank Aaron's on there. Johnny Bench was pretty cool, but there was also guys like Brad Lidge. Nothing against Brad Lidge, right? He was a couple-time Hall of Famer, but it's Brad Lidge. Luis Gonzalez was on there. Sean Green. Like guys like Tim
Garrett
Hudson
Lee.
were on there.
yeah, but you know what though, Tim Hudson, especially if he's an Oakland
Steve
A,
Stewart.
his stuff still sells
Scott Rowland.
really well.
Bernie Williams, like I know. I guess
Barely
some of these
seen
guys
that.
might be some all-time favorites and stuff of certain teams, but
This is actually a really good checklist, Tim. If
no,
you
it's
look
not
at-
bad. No, I'm just making fun of guys because Brad Lidge was the only one like that was really bad. Most of the guys are decent, or like if you were a fan of X team, and like like if you're a fan of the Yankees, you probably liked Bernie Williams, right? So you would, if you're a Yankees fan, you wouldn't be mad if you got a Bernie Williams autograph.
No,
But
I
you'd
was
probably get pretty mad if you got a Brad Lidge.
But this is a great eBay checklist, or ComC, or Sport Lots. Let's be fair to all of them. It's a great checklist on the secondary market. I was looking through it and going, hey, there's a lot of names on here that I think. But if you're popping $40, $45, whatever they retail at your LCS,
They're 80.
Okay, they used to be in the 40 range. Then it's not. Again, we've said this forever. The Archive Signature Series is
It'll look something like this.
clearly
At least
authentic.
The One Touch is probably the best thing that comes in the box.
These are great products for you to grab your favorite teams and favorite players on the secondary market. If you're opening this, unless you're doing it in high volume, you're going to take a bath. This is in fact, Doug Caskey, Mojo Break, argued with me over this series a couple years ago. He's like, it's a great product. And I'm like, you're looking at it from a breaker perspective. It's great to throw a few of these into their big, like 47 box mixer and have 5 of these. It's great. I said, but look at it from a collector perspective. The next time you personally open one going at the time, they were $40 a box. If this is a $50 card, would you be happy with this if you walked away with a random box? And he responded, he goes, you know what? This really isn't that good of a product.
No.
And I'm like, for Mojo Breaks 47 box mixer, great product.
Yeah.
For random Joe Smith who walks into the LCS tomorrow, wait
Not
for
so
them
much.
to hit eBay. Yeah.
Not so much. We also have 21 Topps Museum baseball card baseball set dropping today. $380 a box, 4 packs per box, 5 cards per pack. 1 autograph relic, 1 autograph, a quad relic, 1 additional memorabilia card, 4 parallels, and it's a 100-card base set. Museum collection was pretty decent looking, but
And how many of these are you buying, Jeff?
None.
None.
None whatsoever.
They offer
Hey,
sample
don't
cards
get me wrong. I love baseball. Just again, the market's so hot right now. The ROI, even as a collector, is just not there.
Yeah.
Just I'll stick to hockey.
There you go. Also this week, 21 Panini Donruss Elite Football drops Friday, $350 a box, 20 packs per box, 5 cards per pack. You're going to receive 2 autographs, a mem card, 11 inserts, 6 parallels, and 3 rookies. It's a 175 card base set, and the rookies are the last 75 cards in the set, and they're all numbered out of $9.99 or less. Majority of the offensive stars in the rookie class are numbered out of $5.99. So, again,
Kind
this
of a
is
very 60s design there going on the Moxie.
Yep. I always loved the Elite logo. It always looked good. So, Elite
That's a good
Exhibition Baseball if you're a baseball collector. So.
That's a good looking insert right there.
Mm-hmm. The Playmakers.
The Playmakers.
Playmakers.
Wasn't that the show, ESPN show, Playmakers?
That was a great show.
I think so.
The
was
NFL.
very too true. And the
Too
NFL
true.
said, "Hey, can you stop that because you're making us look really bad."
Yeah.
And we also
you
have
got to admire the NFL for stepping in, and basically that's common knowledge now. That's what makes it even better is, the NFL just said, nah, we're good.
Yeah. 21 Tops Gypsy Queen baseball drops Friday, about $200 a box, 24 packs a box, 8 cards per pack, 2 autographs, 4 captain's minis, 4 Tarot of the Diamond, 1 base short print, and 3 Gypsy Queen Chrome. And that's if you buy a box, either a box topper bonus pack. It's a 321 card set. There's the last 20 cards 301 through 320 are short prints, and then there's an SP1. And SP1 is Jared Kalinick. They snuck him in as he snuck down to the minors. So I think they were really hoping that he would take off because this has been pushed back like how many months now? So, yeah,
Since April-ish, give or take.
It's Gypsy crap. I mean Queen. Check out Ryan Cracknell's articles on Beckett.com/news for more details on all these new releases. Next week, what's brewing next week's releases? 21 Panini Immaculate Baseball, 21 Tops Clearly Authentic Baseball, which, okay, guys, here I pull this out. This is a clearly authentic.
What's
and then this is a buyback auto. So I mean it's like the same product, it's just acetated. And then we also have 2021 Upper Deck Ice, which is a hockey product, but that was supposed to come out this week. It got pushed back again. We also have 2021 Panini Clearly Donruss Basketball and 21 Panini Gold Standard Football. All expected to drop. Topps had a ton of products pushed back. We were supposed to have factory sets out this week. They got pushed to the end of the month. I know Allen and Ganter got pushed. A bunch of top stuff got pushed a couple weeks, if not more. So, well, lots to come forward and lots of good products heading out as we cruise through the summer and get into the NBA draft. And we had the MLB draft this week. Infield Chatter, our Hobby Talk section, part of the show.
Clearly authentic.
Yes. There's your Rod Carew. So, guys, real quick, it was a surprise. The Pittsburgh Pirates had the first pick, and they took Henry Davis, a catcher, out of I don't know, college. I don't remember where he was from, but he went number 1. It was kind of a shocking pick because we all heard about these high school shortstops. We talked about last week, and even he wasn't even in the top 5 or 6 prospects off a few lists I saw. But a lot of people said it was a decent pick because there wasn't a clear-cut number 1, and that's never a good sign when you have the first pick in the draft that there's not a guy like you should take. The Royals, I think, blundered because they passed on Kumar Rocker, which I was hoping they would take. They took another pitcher out of Connecticut, some young.
And he dropped to 10th. Was that a signability issue?
No, I don't know. And then Jordan Lawler fell too. And then the Reds got somebody, or the Red Sox at 4 got the kid Meyer that should have been the first pick. Detroit they all kind of blundered there at the top. I think it was all about money and extra slot money for other picks. I don't know.
You can't fault somebody considering the loss of revenues from last year. I mean, a lot of people are like, you hear it all the time in Oakland because John Fisher owns the Gap, right? He's worth $3 billion. And it's like, hey, listen, the Oakland A's are not the Gap. Most smart business people do not cross revenues from one to the other, unless it's coming out of your personal worth, which is fair. I mean, if he wants to take it out of his personal checking account, but The A's have to be their own entity, and I can see owners, especially for like Pittsburgh, traditionally a smaller payroll team, wanting to perhaps, and you take a catcher, which is if the kid sticks, and I don't know a lot about him, I don't know if he's going to stick at catcher long term, but I can see there being a slight premium at that over, say, like a high school pitcher, whose probability and ETA is still 4, 5, 6 years away. You can fast track a catcher as long as his defensive game is elevated.
I got a couple
Jack
stats
Leiter.
for you.
Jack Leiter was the second pick by the Rangers, and he's the son of Al Leiter, the nephew of Mark, and he was really big, highly touted coming out of Vandy. So,
didn't LA Angels draft 20 pitchers in 20 rounds?
Yes,
yeah,
they did.
some weird stat like that. Yep.
Hey, when you have nothing, I mean, we talked about Ohtani, right? Let's assume that they re-sign him to an average annual value of $30 million. You're going to have potentially Trout, Rendon, and Ohtani eating up $100+ million. You have 3 guys, none of whom potentially, I mean, obviously we don't know what Ohtani's long-term pitching status will be, but theoretically you could argue that you'll have 3 players, $100 million, and no pitchers for a team the Angels.
But the stat was like they went 15 for 20 a couple years ago. They were 16 to 20 a couple years after, like the next year. They've taken a lot of pitchers over the last 5 years. So we'll see. Real quick,
for the catcher stats here,
go ahead, yeah.
Henry Davis out of Louisville, and third catcher drafted overall since 2000. Can you name the other 2, Shep?
Adley Rushman since 2000.
Yeah.
Adley Rushman and Joe Mayer.
Close, you're wrong, but Mauer.
Yeah, Mauer, whatever. He's he never even made it, right? Like he bombed out.
GIF, same thing.
Well, I mean,
he
his
played on that.
uncle did get banned by the NBA from refereeing.
There was
for a short time.
The funniest thing that ever happened. The A's at the 25th overall pick took shortstop Max Muncie at Thousand Oaks High School. Now, they also, back in 2012, drafted a Max Muncie from a California high school, and I think he also was a shortstop at the time.
With the same birthday.
They have the same birthday, and they spell their name the same exact way. And they're both from Southern California. Just weird.
The statistical anomalies of the first name Max, the last name Muncie, and how common each of those names are respectively, and that statistically right now there are 2 known Max Muncies in the entire United States, both of whom share a birthday, both of whom were drafted by the same organization, same region of the same state, played the same position at that same time of their personal development. It's like only in baseball could something like this happen.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and exactly. It's not like their names are like Paul George or Mark Johnson or something really common. Muncie with a Y isn't exactly the most common name.
Well, and A's have that guy. I think I forget which other organization. The Orioles had the guys Brady Fiegel.
Oh no! How about Logan Allen with the Indians? Right, pitcher Logan was at Logan Allen, and then last year their first round pick was also Logan Allen, who's also a left-handed pitcher. Or the Rangers with Rogned Odor and his younger brother Rogned Odor.
Or that's Tampa Bay with the lows.
Oh, and then also Victor Mesa Jr. and then Victor Mesa.
See, I think those are more familiar names based on he and the Odors. I believe are more of a familial thing within the culture.
I know,
but yeah, it's amazing because there was a stat, something stupid like Bob Smith. There's never been I forget what the first insert the surname were something like one of the most common combinations of first and last name. Bob Smith. There's never been one ever in Major League Baseball history, but yet there's been 2 Rogned Odors.
Yeah,
and it's like,
and then there's never been a guy with the that except until the last couple weeks ago, according to Chip Carey, that had played a major league game where his last name ended in an X.
Except for the other 18 guys that came before him, including one of the most famous Hall of Famers.
So last week we gave a huge shout out to Bobby Witt Jr. for being super cool to a kid. And so he's an up-and-coming young shortstop, but a current MLB All-Star and shortstop did something pretty cool. So at Big O Mitchell tweeted out this. It was a kid that had you remember those like the old credit card commercial, like marking off the 3 things you want to go do. His was like
whatnot.
Yeah, his was bucket list, heart transplant, fly to San Diego for a game, picture with Francisco Tatis Jr. And there we go.
Francisco Tatis Jr.
Francisco Tatis Jr. Yeah, Fernando Tatis Jr.
This guy.
Dude, I can't even tell you. Like, yeah, we'll talk after show what this week has been like on my brain here. But
what did you say earlier? The Chicago Pistons or
the
something?
Chicago Rockies.
Check mark. And there they are getting the
and
picture.
then Charlie Freeman, who might be the best kid ever to hit social media, right? The son of Freddie Freeman, who told his dad, hey, you're hitting 220. You need to play better because you need to go to the All-Star game because I need to meet Fernando Tatis Jr. And then his mom is videoing Charlie, like looking for Tatis Jr. Doesn't. And later on, he got to meet him in the dugout before the home run derby. He got a hug and a picture. Nice. And then later on, got to meet him at the game too, which I think is super cool. And by the way, if you've not seen this Charlie Freeman hit, like start prospecting him now. He has a card like a pre, like what's that, like the under 6U or under 6-7U or whatever. He's playing T-ball. You want to get a T-ball card of Charlie Freeman. The dude has the swing of his dad. No, but it's cool. Like I just thought it was super cool that this little kid, that's all he didn't even care his dad was going to be an all-star. You got to get there so I can meet this other guy who's my favorite player. It's not you.
Who was it on? Who was the? Shoot, was it the Cincinnati Andre Hawkins? I think it was the wide receiver who used to play for the Bengals and the Browns. I think that was his name.
Yeah,
and he asked his
Andrew
kid,
Hawkins.
Yeah, he asked his kid who was his favorite wide receiver, and I think he said it was. I believe he said Chad Johnson, and the little vine I think it was showed dad slamming the door on his kid, like kicking him out of the house. It's like I gotta say, man, Tatis. We don't know him personally, obviously, right? You never know what somebody is, but at least on the surface, he just seems like the kind of kid that he gets it. You know, he's broken all these unwritten rules, doesn't care. He's his own player. He's flashy. He's fun to watch. You know, he's the kind of guy that if you could build a great baseball player at his age. Yeah, you know, the only thing that you could really have a knock on is right now, positionally, he's got a lot of defensive errors. But outside of that, I mean, just his personality and his offensive prowess. And, I mean, he's
watch him. He's having fun playing baseball.
Exactly.
Gotta love it.
So him, Soto, Acuna, tore his ACL this week before the All-Star game. So sell all of his cards because he's done. He's never coming back. So if you have Ronald cards, sell them to me. I'll buy them. Those guys are, Vladdy Jr. These guys are the next generation of really good players. I think Polar Bear. I think Pete Alonso needs to be faced because he has a dad bod at like 20-something years old, right? I mean, he's not a physically super fit dude, but he looks like he plays in a beer league. But he looks like everybody, right? Like they have fun playing baseball. We saw what Rizzo and Freddie Freeman when he was pitching to him, right? How much fun they had. He was calling him Frederick. We need that. That needs to be in baseball. Like we need
to
more
be shown
of that.
more.
Yes.
You know who is absolutely just so much fun to watch day in and day out?
Joey Votto.
Elvis Andrews. We all know how much he used to screw with Beltray and the whole hat thing, but man, I'm watching a game the other day and a dude slides into second base and he applies the tag and the guy is safe. And as the umpire is watching, Andrews lifts up the guy's leg and taps him for out. Obviously, he's not out, but it's just like he lifts up his leg. Every time there's a pop-up, Andrews goes from Adrian Beltre ball hawking everything for a decade to now coming over to Matt Chapman, knowing damn well you're never going to get a ball. And, pop fly, and he looks up like he's going to catch it. And then, like, the camera moves over to him, and then they're like, wait a minute. He deked the camera guy. Sorry, that's a pop out to Chapman. And he's always got a smile. He's always screwing with guys. And it's just like,
we need more fun and bring fun back in sports.
You need that. Lindor's always got the smile, and it's just like these guys are so flashy. It's so much fun to watch these, and because all of these guys are super, super young.
Sure.
Assuming they all stay healthy, or a good majority of them stay healthy, and they don't regress. Man, baseball's got a good decade and a half.
I hope so. I really, really do. But they're going to screw it up. They're going to screw it up this winter.
Well, and then for Francisco Tatis, and you're not wrong, Francisco Tatis Jr., the Twins' top draft pick, Chase Petty, had announced that after getting drafted, they just got off the phone with Mike Trout, New Jersey native like himself, but that he was going to dinner with Tatis and Manny Machado the next night.
By the way, that kid was polished. I saw that interview, and he was like, "Yeah," he goes, "I was the 20 whatever pick he was overall. It was the same pick as Trout,
something like that."
Yeah, he no hit Trout's high school alma mater, and I loved that kid. He's like, I just can't wait to go play for. I can't wait to be good. I cannot wait to show them how good I'm going to be. And I just thought that was super cool. It made me want to root for him. I love seeing that. Like, hey, I'm confident in when I am a good player. I'm going to go out and do it. They showed his dad. His dad's crying, big, burly, bald-headed guy, and he's sitting there with tears in his eyes, and you're like, yes, this is hello, baseball. Please market this better. Like they did something cool by putting the draft with All-Star Weekend, right? Yeah. But it's like you guys like there's so much you could do with this. It just
they literally have not good talent right now. They've got generational talent. Guys like Acuna, guys like Tatis, guys like Guerrero. These guys come along once in a generation. And all of these guys just came up at the same damn time. They're the same age. Soto. I don't want to leave anybody off. There's
real
a ton
quick.
of these guys.
Think how good 2018 product was. In 2019 product. That's all. Dude. Like just. Well, like in baseball, basketball, and football, there was so many really good young.
Even tossing hockey.
Yeah. So many young players in all those sports that all came up. We did like none of those sports had an off year. Every once in a while, like a sport has an off year where there's not like a giant, awesome rookie class. But those couple years, like that's I think kind of what drove everything. And now everybody thinks every rookie class is like that, and it's not. We have just been superiorly lucky to have a bunch of these guys all kind of timed together.
Right.
If you look at like the under 27 crowd, right? So you can still include guys like Matt Olson and stuff like that are at that 27 range. Pete Alonso, right? If we go back to 83 through 87, consider the amount of talent we had. Ripken was 82, but you had Sandberg and Gwen and Boggs, who's a little bit on the older side. Yeah, Strawberry. And then you had Mattingly, and then 85 comes along. Who do we have 85? You had
Puckett and Clemens.
Yeah, Puckett was there, and then Davis. 86 you had Canseco and Bonds and Bonilla, Will
Eric
Clark
Davis.
and McGuire and Davis in 87. Look at the collection of young talent
Fielder.
then. Yeah, we have that right now, all over again. The only thing is, I think a lot of this talent right now is younger than those guys were. A lot of those guys came up at 24, 25, 26.
These guys are
right now.
19,
I mean, look at Wade
21.
Boggs. He didn't come up till he was 24, 25?
25-ish, yeah, I think is,
Couldn't beat up Carney Lansford.
Look at 83 through 87. We're living through that right now, except these guys are a lot more. They're younger. I think they're a lot more marketable, honestly.
Yeah.
And plus, I mean, the difference too is 1983, 85, 87. You know what you didn't have? You didn't have the internet. You didn't have cable
TV. Cable TV was so new. Cable sports.
I'd be putting this on every. I'm sorry, man.
The president's on every channel.
Yeah. Right now, you have all of these guys who are just flashy and fun, and the antithesis of everything we grew up with, and basically anybody who's in their 30s or older. You can't relate to this because we had the unwritten rules. You don't do this and you don't do that. And these young kids just don't care. And maybe it's time to usher in a new generation of whether or not we should care. Hey, I'm sorry, man. You throw your left fielder out there and I'm already up 16-1 and I rock a home run off you. I don't care. I don't care what Tony La Russa thinks of this. I'm hitting a home run because you put a man on the mound. My job is to score runs.
Yeah,
it's the 8th inning. How do I know you're not going to score?
Dio. Come on now.
How do you know? But how do you know I'm not going to score 15 runs in the bottom of the 8th? How
Because
probable?
Well, and by the way, also too, when Brett Phillips came in and pitched, and how much fun he was having doing that, right? Like that's every kid's dream. Like I never get to play that position. Hell yeah, I'm gonna go have some fun with it.
Yeah.
We also found out this week via an eBay ad. So take it for the worth, but that Karl Anthony Towns is a huge trading card collector. He had the tweet said pro baller. Karl Towns has a passion for trading cards that started young. He even used his knowledge of eBay to score a huge win, a job, and feel the pure joy of winning when you unbox your next eBay find. But it was a good video, a few minute video
right here.
To me, what makes a card rare and special is just how it makes you feel. Hey guys, it's Karl Anthony Towns of the Minnesota Timberwolves, and yes, I collect trading cards, memorabilia. I've been doing this for about 15 years. When I was younger, I started working at Spencer Sports Cards and Memorabilia, grew a relationship with the owner and just said, hey, I really could use some money. I would love to work here and bring a youthful approach to the game with my knowledge of eBay. I think the eBay standpoint that I kind of sold.
Plus, he could reach the top shelves.
Well, yeah.
But no, I mean, that's super cool. I love seeing, and I saw also too, like there was a kid. Oh God, he's a backup quarterback with the Packers, and he collects his one of ones. Kurt Benkirk. Kurt Benkirk was the guy, and he
nice.
Yeah, he's out trying to collect his own one of ones, and that's what he wants of himself, which I thought was pretty cool.
Good for him. That's fun.
Yeah, our buddy Anthony Corona had scored an awesome rainbow, and he said, "Braves fans, look away, because it's a 2020 Topps Chrome rainbow of Pablo Lopez, the pitcher. This goes from base, all of the different parallels, and even the Supa Dupa fracted. That is a sexy rainbow. That's what 18 cards there.
No printing plates.
I don't know if Chrome puts out printing plates. Do they?
Oh, that'd be a good question to check real quick.
I don't know if they do or not.
They might not put them out, but they obviously have them.
Well, yeah, but if they're not in packs, how are you supposed to get them?
I was just curious because it also brings up the argument, and again, as a rainbow collector, where do you call a rainbow complete? We've talked about this before. For me, it's 25 and above, just because anything below 25 is so scarce, and expensive. And then, of course, if you do go all the way down to the one of one, do you count printing plates as part of the rainbow?
No. No, sorry. 101 printing plates are also available. So, yes, they do have plates.
I don't think I've ever seen a Topps Chrome printing plate. Bowman First Autos. Here we go. At Mike Stein. I've completed all of the Bowman First Autos and others from the 2021 set, thanks to all that helped me get there. So he got all of the first autographs from Bowman's release this year, which I thought another pretty impressive feat. I mean, Austin Martin's probably the big name in there, but to kind of have a little project like that, I love these. When someone else is going out and running down, and then there was some color parallels and stuff of other guys too, but I thought it was a pretty nice. I wonder what how long that took him to run down. So
I wonder what the. See, this is where we get back to that speculation thing because pricing on these are so volatile. Sure. I wonder what it cost just for him to acquire this, not necessarily present day value. Because again, like Jeff mentioned earlier, right? You buy this card at $2, it may be worth $1 now. If you bought these right off, first off the line, so to speak, that first 7 to 10 day window, you're buying most of these at a extremely elevated price.
Yeah.
some of these, you can sit on some of the lesser names. But then it just takes one knucklehead to go out and do something awesome. And, next thing you know, that card you could have theoretically had under $20 is now trending at $250. At what point, if you're trying to build a rainbow like this, and if you want to call it a rainbow complete set, at what point do you just bite the bullet and say, I'm going after this and I'm just going to do it today, no matter what it costs and what it might cost 6 months from now?
Yeah.
That was probably expensive because there's a 2021 set, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing is, too, is some of those autos, people don't know who the guys are. And they sell them for, and they're not high draft picks, or they're not well sought after prospects. And so they sell them for $5 right away. But then you do have your guys like Austin Martin, or the kid that's the Twins' first Bowman that was in there, Aaron something or other, right? And, Sabato, yeah, people are Blaze Jordan with the Red Sox, and they have a little bit higher of a number, but I think overall you probably didn't spend as much as you would think, but it's still pretty impressive to run that down this quick.
You would almost have to do it this way, Tim. If you're going to open up a case, I'm buying all of the individual autos from you. Period. And then Steph, you're my backup. Whatever Tim doesn't pull, then Jeff, you're my next guy in line. Whatever, you would almost have to, because if you went to just eBay on this, it would be a nightmare to have to track all of the auctions to try to collect them all. If you were trying to do it all, and if you're trying to do it simultaneously, because it's hard enough as a player and team collector with the eBay watch list, where you put a short print times 10 in your watch list, and whichever one I can grab, I'll delete the rest. I could only imagine what be really interesting to find out how the mindset. How do you approach something like this? Do you go for the expensive ones, Austin Martin first, and if I can get that at a reasonable price, I'll go back and collect the lower half of the checklist?
For this, when it comes out, the prospects, I go scoop up everyone that's under $10 as soon as I can.
Gotcha.
Austin Martin's going to be high. Like the names you're looking for are going to be high that first couple weeks or two. Then as more of them flood the market, that price on the big names are going to come down just a little bit. So again, they're a little more affordable. But now somebody that was a couple bucks 3 or 4 weeks ago might have started having a good season, and people now are looking and saying, "Oh God, we missed on this guy," but you've already got him. I think it's different than building like a vintage set where it's all the guys are all said and done, and the prices are very established on what they're going to be.
Can we reach out as a show, even if we don't have this gentleman on? Can we just reach out and say, hey, listen, can you give us a Cliff Notes version maybe for next week's show, and just say, hey, okay, if somebody out there wanted to approach
price, how long did it take?
Yeah, just a timeline. What's an average price? Do you go for the high ones first? Did you just look at your checklist and go, boom, I'm doing it? Did you focus on a handful? Because that's the problem, is once you get that first 3 to 5 guys on a Bowman checklist, and these are the 3 to 5 everybody's after, that next wave, that tier 2 comes up too, because now other speculators are like, I'm not in on, Bobby Witt and Robert Pawson, and from a couple of years ago, and I'm not in on Austin Martin this year. I'm not in on these guys. Who's that next wave? What's that next tier that may not cost me $200, might cost me $75?
Yeah.
My rule of thumb is like wait 60 to 90 days from a release, because I think from a financial perspective, there might be a few studs, but most of the non-stud prospects will bottom out. So you'll save a few dollars on each kind of thing. But 60 to 90 days is when, like you mentioned, in that the product has already been released. There's probably a few other products already out there that people are more catered towards. And that's when you'll find, so you might have to overpay slightly on a stud or two, but then you'll save a few dollars on the 58 others who've kind of bottomed out.
Well, that's what I did with Series 1 Young Guns this year. I kind of waited until Series 2 came out, and I went back and started buying some of the ones I didn't have. And, I saved myself a few bucks. So, guys, handfuls right here. Greed. So Ryan Fagan tweets out, unfortunately, everywhere you see baseball cards these days, you see greed. I mean, who takes this many free packs primarily meant for kids? Sheesh. And look at this. This was at the All-Star game, I believe, with their van that travels around. If you just look at all, like at this hairy old, Hefty Dad here. Just a handful of the little giveaway packs. Little Junior here sitting like, oh man, I wanted some of those. And Suze, who worked for Topps for a while, she tweeted back, is it the last day of the show? They might also want people to take them so they don't have to ship them back, which makes sense, right? But at the same time, to me, it's like, dude, yeah, like that, like we see this now so much where people are just like, I don't care what it is, I need it, and I need as much of it as I can right now.
Yeah,
with cards.
I mean, I've been to a few of these shows, and I've had a few of these handed to me. Normally, at least at the National, they try to do a promo with them where everybody opens them. Find me the guy who has the most home runs, the shortest person, whatnot. And they make it a show, so it's not like the first person to tell me. No, it's okay. Well, we got 5-4. Do we have 5-3? It's kind of an auction type deal. But I can only hope, and it's probably mostly unlikely, but I can only hope that he was handed a huge stack and said, "Hey, can you help us fantasies out, or take one and hand them around?"
Yeah,
probably not the case.
So when I was a kid, growing up in the junk wax era. Here in the Oakland Bay Area, we had Mother's Cookie cards, which I know were regional. And we always tried to go to the A's and the Giants Mother's Cookie days. And the way it worked, if you're not familiar with those old cards from the mid to late 80s through the mid 90s, was a 28 card set. You got 20 cards of the set in your pack at the door, and then you got 8 duplicates of one player, and you didn't know who they were, Mike Gallego perhaps, and you'd go around talking to other people is to trade around so that you could complete your set.
So similar to how they do the Topps National Baseball Card Day at the stadiums, where you get 3 random packs and there's extra to trade off.
Correct. It encouraged trading, and I can't tell you how many times we would go around, my cousin and I, and older fans would just say, "Here, kids, take these." And granted, we were kids. Mm-hmm. But we would end up with a lot of packs. And this, of course, was at a time when, speculation wasn't a word and the internet didn't exist. And, so you're not going out to sell this stuff on the secondary market, perhaps trade it at a card show or your LCS. But, we would come out with stacks of these. This is a grown man and the optics look really bad and it could be taken out of context. Whereas he might have been holding these with the intent to pass them around. If it's at the end of a show, especially if it's at an event where it's not a trading card event, mm-hmm. like say the National is, or a large show. I'm at a baseball game. Not everybody collects baseball cards, young or old. Maybe you didn't want your cards because that's not what I'm here for. It just happened to be a promotional giveaway day. We all know better. It's probably not the case. But before we condemn this guy, unless we know,
it's one of those things that you see, and it's just kind of like really the optics are really bad. Yeah,
super bad.
Speaking of bad optics, blowout is this comes from @JRs_card or cards_JR, and a lot of people tweet this out that it's disappointing. Blowout Cards is selling Target exclusive Prism mega boxes before Target is terrible. So the Target mega boxes, they were only supposed to be at Targets, and now that they're not doing in-store sales, they're going to do online only, whatever. That Blowout is actually selling them and listing them online for sale before Target is. Now, it's Blowout. They're going to do what they're going to do. And, so technically they're not selling it. It looks like you subscribe to be back when they're back in stock. Like you get an email when they have them in stock.
Somebody replied that they'd already sold out.
Oh, okay. So
they were actively selling them.
I guess.
Apparently.
So that's that just feels kind of dirty. Remember when Blowout meant they were blowing cards out to move them faster, and now like they're just the prices are blown out of the water. It's kind of reversed itself. Like I remember back in the day, you remember Black Friday deals? Like you'd get awesome deals from Dave and Adams and Blowout on Black Friday online.
On products that people wanted.
Yeah, and now it's like no.
It's that age-old question.
Off Chronicles.
That rhetorical perhaps debate of I don't like an actor making $20 million. Well, then don't go to the movie theater. Don't support the movie. You don't like Mike Trout's contract. Don't go to Angels games. Don't buy his baseball cards. Don't buy his jersey, so on and so forth. You know, if you don't like that Blowout is doing this, don't go to their website. Don't buy their cards. No, that just goes for everything. Don't support them.
Vote with your wallet.
But if the four of us decide we're not going to Blowout, or Steel City, or Dave and Adams, or whoever may be doing something that you're not in favor of, or if you don't like the price points.
Yeah. So I have a question.
Yeah, don't go there.
You were talking about trading and stuff like at the games with the Mother's Cookies cards. One of my buddies that I've known, I know forever, right? He's a local guy, and we're in a fantasy football league together and stuff. And like we were friends in high school. We kind of rekindled for our friendship a handful of years back, right? It's been awesome. Mm-hmm. And his son's now into collecting. They're starting collecting, and he's going through his old cards and stuff. And they opened a box of Series 2 and had a lot of fun with it. And he said, hey, man, he goes, I got all these inserts. He goes, you know, is that something I can take back to the store and, like, you know, get some trade value? And I'm like, nah, not really. That's not how this store works unless it's like a higher end type guy. I said, you know, your best option on some of this stuff is like, you know, eBay or whatever. I was kind of talking about that. And he's like, well, okay, like I'm not gonna get that far into it. I just wanted to see. But my question is one, do you remember when stores did like trades? Like that was a bigger thing, and I don't think it is as much anymore. And have you seen it lately?
Not
or is
locally.
it more just monetary value? Like instead of going, hey, like I have this Mike Trout rookie and I want to take home that Luka Doncic rookie, we trade. It's more of like, oh, I'll give you, you know, X number of dollars in store credit or whatever.
I mean, as the kid who was on last week who was talking about it, I've seen more locally trading at the shows instead of at a shop, wherein, you know, the dealers are making deals either before the show, while setting up, or after the show ends. Hey, I saw that you still have that. I really wanted it. Can we make some sort of trade?
Even more so, I think more people are understanding that like cash is king, regardless of trades. So you may as well sell that card on IG or eBay or whatever it may be. Just get cash, because cash is much more pure and liquid than like a trade, because they might not want that card.
I think that's a good point about an LCS, because, and again, it's independent to each brick and mortar. You know, your personal in you know, your demographics and the socioeconomics. So much of it is wrapped up in packs and boxes now that, you know, if I went into Tim's LCS and said, hey, Tim, I've got these 10 cards that are valued on eBay at, say, $10 a piece, so $100. And it's liquid enough to where they would sell rather quickly. Could I trade you this $100 worth of cards for $50 worth of in-store credit? Tim's LCS is probably going to look at it and go, I don't want the headache. I'm probably not going to be able to get the $10 a pop in store in my showcase. I don't want to have to deal with having to pay somebody or doing it myself to go onto eBay and list these cards. It's easier to keep that $50 worth of merchandise, especially if it's sealed wax or packs, you know, to where that is more valuable. Whereas at a card show, if we're just dealing as, you know, Tim's going to be setting up at a show here on Saturday. If I go to Tim at Tim's two tables at a card show, he's just a local collector and sells online. And I say, hey, man, I really want this A's card you have for $50. I will give you these 10 cards that you know have a market worth of approximately $10 a piece. And there's a much better chance of him saying, you know what, I'll take a 2-for-1.
Yeah. I
used to do it with the LCS all the time. I traded, you know, I traded a Tim Lincecum autograph when it was valued at about $100 from, I think it was 07 Masterpieces. It was a rookie auto, I believe. And I traded it for a Mickey Mantle relic that was valued around $30-40 and a couple of other A's cards. And I probably got 60 cents on the dollar, but I still bought the box of Masterpieces to build the set. And the way I looked at it is I got everything in that box plus this mantle and a couple of A's cards from different products. And the LCS guy got an opportunity to sell a Lincecum that in a Giants market that probably sat in his showcase for less than a week.
Yeah.
And he wasn't going to move that other stuff probably as quickly.
Yeah. So guys and gals, if you have any stories of doing trades and stuff with LCSs with cards, whatever, like in shop, we'd love to hear that and see. It just kind of came to my mind this week.
Well,
this was interesting.
So to last note, small side note, I did see somebody posting about that on Instagram. Somebody who we need to have back on the show again. Someone who said he'd welcome the opportunity, and with love from Bluegrass, Jimmy.
Okay.
He'd hosted a trade night not too long ago.
Yeah, and I know Ryan, Card Collector 2, has as well. And he has some awesome videos and stuff of that. So, very nice. We'll get in touch with Jimmy. Maybe we need to have Jimmy and Ryan together. I think that'd be fun because they're hosting the trade night at the National.
Very nice.
Yeah. Withdrawn. Watch the breaks. Tweet this out in case you missed it on Instagram. The PSA 10 overgrade was withdrawn from Golden Auctions, and we talked about this I think last week or 2 weeks ago that Golden had a whole bunch of these Jordans that they were selling at these graded 10s, and
45
Ken Golden put out a message saying it's important for Golden Auctions to ensure that everything we sell is described is authentic and meets the standards we set as a company. Given this, our consignor's approval, we have removed the Lot 8, the 86 Fleer Michael Jordan PSA 10 rookie card from the current July auction. We noticed that upon examination of the card that it might not warrant a PSA Gem Mint 10 assessment. We informed PSA of the issue, and with our consignor's approval, we'll be sending the card back to PSA for review. It is possible that the holder is compromised, and PSA will examine that as well.
So of course, this is going to come back up for auction in 8 months when it gets back from PSA, right?
Yeah, and they might push it to the front of the line since it's been kind of there's a little story and a little documentation going on with it. But hey, you know what? The reason I bring this up is I give Golden Auctions a huge shout out here, for not just pushing through and selling something and then moving on. And they could just say, "Hey, look, it says PSA 10. You got a problem? You go talk to PSA." I mean, we just sold what it said it was.
Well, it's interesting that you say that because I would say, and again, this is just my own thought process, but 6 months ago, and don't get me wrong, Golden is great, but 6 months ago, prior to all the investment coming in, this wouldn't have happened. But because there's such a large investor base now and board of directors, they're being overprotective of Golden.
Yeah.
Which they have to be. It's their, they are investing in Golden. They've bought it, they bought a portion of it. Yeah, you have to protect the brand now because it's not just Ken Golden doing his thing. And I'm not familiar with the whole backstory of Golden, but yeah, when you buy a company like this, you need full transparency. So if they've got to protect the brand first and foremost before anything else.
Oh, I 100% agree. I'm just saying if this was 6 months ago, this wouldn't have happened.
Probably not. No, not.
Yeah.
They would just sold it and been happy with it.
Right.
No, and that's what I'm saying. And that's why I wanted to bring it to light because there's not truly there are companies that would just sell it, move on it, and not say anything, right? And they'd be happy to take their commission, and we got another big sale, and their consignor's happy, and So 7 days. So this was we were going to talk about this last week. We just ran out of time at MC Talk Cards. So I've been wanting to post. So the card I've been wanting just posted on eBay as a 7-day auction. Would it be appropriate if I messaged the seller an offer to buy it before the auction ended? I thought this is a really good question because there's cards like that I've seen, and I've done that before, and I've actually gotten the card.
That's savage, first off. And that should not happen, but it does happen. People try to poach all the time. And like I'm sure questions arise, and I'm sure eBay is aware of those who stop auctions that have bidding on it prior to it actually ending. But
the card I bought did not have any bids. It got notified because I was been looking for it. I got notified it was listed, and like within minutes I was like, "Hey, can I just buy this card from you? Here's my number. Are we close?" And we were pretty close, about $10 off.
So there's your caveat, right? If there's just one bid on a card, it has unofficially sold. Yeah, the sales process is in the process. It just hasn't officially ended. But if there are no, I mean, Tim, you put something up on auction tonight on TBS, and I see it 2 days from now. Nobody's bid on it. Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to reach out to you if I see it and go, hey, what do you think? Would you be willing to? Would you be willing to end this auction? That's why I wouldn't tell you who I was. First off,
I know your handle.
If I say it and go, hey, Mr. Random Seller, can I buy this? I think it's about an X dollar card. Are you open? Worst case scenario, you say no. I'm going to let the auction ride. You're welcome to place a bid on it, Mr. Potential Buyer.
Dude, your eBay handle is I invest in sports cards.
.com//invest.
And that's why I never have auctions, because I want, if somebody wants this card, right? And you can pay what I have, or they can make an offer, and we can work out a deal that way, and then it sells. To me, that's quicker and more fluid than waiting around, and then you don't have the option of hey, yeah, it sold, it hit a great number, the auction ended, and then you go unpaid, and then you try to do it again, and you get unpaid again. Because the number got too high and somebody got scared and said, I didn't mean to bid on it. My 6-year-old dog hopped up there. He was cruising eBay for bones and he accidentally bid on this card. And
it isn't, and maybe Jeff can speak more to this, but isn't eBay now making it where you can't retract bids?
So I can't speak of that, Stefan. But in terms of eBay, obviously 130 point and all that, there's so much data out there, right? So like Tim was saying, if there is a bid on it, I'm sure there's a way to opt out, right? Oops, I listed this by accident. Remove it, sell it, or post it as a buy it now. It sells, and then, like you said, it doesn't get bought, and there's the no payment. And then what happens now, right? I'm sure you have a question now from that person who bought or who bid, or the 10 people who are watching, and then they report you to eBay. It's a mess, I can assure you. And I'm sure eBay has alerts to this, in that they do not like auctions ending and then seeing it being relisted as an item and then sold or not sold and then relisted as an auction item and so on and so forth. It's a repetitive circle, in that you hope it happens and it sells, but if it doesn't, people aren't stupid, right? This might be a whole scheme in the sense of if it doesn't get paid for multiple times, then you're in a better position.
Yeah.
So.
Well, as we wrap up the show tonight, we're going to talk about Slam and A-Rod, but I think that because I think that's going to need a bigger discussion, and I think we need to push that to next week. But our question of the week, real rookie card. Now, Yanks Chick asked this last week: which cards of Barry Bonds rookie cards? Can explain this to me, and which cards are Barry Bonds rookie cards? Which ones are they? And Collector 29, who collects tons of Tim Wallach, wants every Tim Wallach ever. 87s are his rookies, 86s are his XRCs, as they were a gimmick novelty release sold in sets like a deck of playing cards. While still cool, the 86 aren't, quote, real rookies. I don't think they're gimmicky.
They weren't. They were traded /update. But, sold as a complete set.
So, but I'm asking the group, which are his rookie cards? Is the 86 tops traded, or is the 87 tops?
More recent releases, I tend to go with the first major flagship release, whether it's update, whether it's Series 2. Versus, say, something more akin to what traded was then, Gypsy or Topps Chrome or whatnot.
So you tell me that the 2011 Mike Trout update is not his rookie card?
Well, I said it's first flagship, whether it's update or Series 2 or whatnot. Oh, okay. Listen, Tim. Listen.
I only heard flag of Series 1 and 2. I didn't hear update.
It said update. But this question comes up all the time, especially at work, where, hey, you said that this card is a rookie card, but I heard from somebody else that it's not. Well, because in 2005 and 06, they changed the rules, and now Justin Verlander, who was a rookie in 05, by the definitions of the time, is now again a rookie in 2006, by the definitions of the new rules. Or Bryce Harper. His 2011 Bowman Chrome cards. I believe it's Bowman Chrome. Topps Chrome? whatever. Well, but he didn't play in the league until 2012. But it says rookie card because the leagues, the companies don't care. It's the common definition of what collectors accept. So, I mean, perfect example. What's Mantle's rookie?
52.
Wrong. 51 Bowman.
Yeah, 51 Bowman is the rookie. 52 Topps would be the first Topps. Now, granted, there's always that asterisk because it was the first Topps major full set release.
Well, that's like if you look at 86, 87 Fleer basketball, there is a handful of guys that's their rookie cards, like a real big list, and they might have been playing in the night. They might have played in the 82, 83 season. Real quick question. Rich Frank says, what about Cal Ripken? Because he has an 82 Topps flagship card, and he also has an 82 traded. Now, he's a future stars or whatever it is. It's a 3-headed, prospecting card. Which one would you consider his actual true rookie out of those?
But see, he had the 82 update as a solo card, but he also had Fleer and he had Donruss in 82. And this is where the you have to look at the totality of a player's releases in a given year. The Topps tradeds are often seen as an XRC. They are real cards. They are real rookie cards. But there are pre-rookie cards, which is what we now know as modern-day Bowman. There are XRCs, which what we would consider that now as any non-flagship release. So if a rookie this year has cards in Ginter and Gypsy and Heritage and so on and so forth, those are XRCs, with the flagship being their true rookie card or TRC. If we look back at those guys, they kind of all fell in the same bucket in 86. Canseco, Bonds, Bonilla, who else? Will Clark. I'm missing another. Bo Jackson. That was the other one I just thought of. That had the XRC and 86 Topps traded, but had the 87 Topps as their first non-XRC. Well, that's their flagship. Well, the problem is there were other cards released that year, like Donruss. So for Barry Bonds, who had a Fleer update in 86, he had Donruss rookies. Canseco had Fleer with Eric Plunk. He had Fleer update by himself. He had a Donruss with the mustache. 87 Topps has the Rookie Cup on it. So that's technically his second year. So you could theoretically argue that Jose Canseco does not have a true rookie card from Topps because 86 would be the XRC. 87 would be the second year Rookie Cup. So 86 is
what
still
about the
their
guys
rookie
like
cards.
Cronenworth from this year, where he had a rookie cup and the rookie card logo, or like Spragueman on his flagship card, he has the rookie logo and the cup card.
And they shouldn't, because there should be some level of consistency from Topps, which is asking far too much. We know collectively that
we should just be like hockey. You don't get a card until you touch the pro ice, right?
Really, Upper Deck and NHL does the best job at this.
We as a community can't agree on rookie cards. You think we're going to agree on any other topic? I don't care what.
It was a good one for us to all yell at each other at the end of the night.
It's just at the end of the day, it's okay that players, especially now that we have modern day rookie cards the way we know them to be. We know that there's all kinds of rookie cards, and oftentimes the Bowman is the more sought after.
Whatever has an RC logo on it now. It's a rookie card.
And that's fine. And again, now you can argue, well, what's more valuable, the Bowman Chrome, the Bowman Mega, the Bowman Sapphire, because those are all the same damn card now too. They're just parallels thereof.
The Panini Chronicles. Guys, any final thoughts before we head out tonight?
Yeah, that you forgot 86 Fleer update had Bip Roberts. But also, next week I should have 3 new all-time home run collection posts to publish out.
Awesome.
I got who's in the mail? Mike Schmidt, Jim Tomei, and most recently Frank Robinson. Really nice 6-patch.
Sweet. Ben, anything for next? Anything?
Yeah, last week we had Ryan on. I just want to clarify because most everybody that was listening had a really good time with the debate that Ryan and I had. A few people had voiced their displeasure, and whenever we invite a guest on, for the most part, we don't know what they're going to talk about because we have questions. We had Jeff on tonight. We don't know exactly what he's going to talk about. We have a good idea, of course, before we ask a guest on. And I had a very good idea of Ryan's position on investing. And again, it's a bucket word. We've discussed that a million times on this show. But not every conversation is going to be cut and dry. And we've argued and fought with other people like Brian Gray, the Leaf CEO. He's come on as well. And sometimes we're going to have more heated debates with our guests. Ryan was a good sport about it. But at the end of the day, we value the position of this show to educate not only our listeners, but ourselves as well, because we've learned so much about the community and about the hobby as a result from hosting this show and the guests that we've invited on. And, a lot of times when people come on, especially when he's using a word like investing, which is not if you're looking at it from a financial perspective, a professional perspective, an academic perspective, it is not the correct verbiage to use. You want to call it semantics? That's fine. But this is a gambling hobby. This is a speculative market. This is an arbitrage market. It's a day trading market. Especially like at ComC, for instance, where you can buy something and immediately put it in your store if it's undervalued, and you see an opportunity. That's more day trading, especially if you flip it immediately. So there are varying degrees of the financial things aside. And because we value the educational side of things, that we want to discuss this, that sometimes conversations are going to be sometimes more heated and debated depending on the topic. And if you've listened to the show more than once, you know that that's a trigger word for me. And I was going to correct his verbiage as I see fit. And people are welcome to agree and enjoy that. They're welcome to disagree. And again, we welcome all feedback in that regard, and not everything is going to be as well received by everybody. But again, this is all in good fun. And Ryan and I have had some conversations on Twitter since then about certain topics. If this medium is what this medium is, Ryan has his own channel in which he can discuss anything that he chooses and to his liking. There are a lot of podcasts out there, and every one of them is a little bit different and caters to different markets and listeners. And they're not necessarily just like the hobby itself, right? Not every product releases for every collector. Yep. Some of the topics we discuss aren't necessarily going to be for everybody, because sometimes we do get into a little bit more detailed, especially when it comes to the economic side of things, whereas other shows might shy away from that. And we have guests on where other ones might not have guests on at all, or some others are very guest centric and interview driven. Understand that it came from a place of respect, even if it didn't come across that way initially. Commercials. There's one that is nothing but a long commercial. In fact, I was watching one the other night that was nothing but a long commercial. I was asking myself, when are they getting to the show? I can't. I thought it's just like, can I speed past the commercials? But
brought to you by.
We love all of our listeners, and sometimes it's gonna some more than others.
Murphy.
But it's a brotherhood, it's a sisterhood. We're all in this together, and sometimes we're not going to agree and see eye to eye. But understand one thing: it makes all of us better on the back end if we challenge our positions, if we debate them, especially if they're done from a place of respect. And that's what it was intended, even if at the outset. And understand the other thing too: if you're listening versus watching, sometimes that a little bit of that gets lost in translation. So, we had fun. He had fun. We spoke after the show, and he was a good sport about it. And he did follow up by saying the right thing to Steph and I, which is that Walter Johnson is, in fact, the greatest starting pitcher of all time.
After Nolan Ryan, which his name's Ryan Nolan. Anyway. Hey, Jeff, I want to say thanks for hanging out this time. Do you have anything to add before we leave tonight, bud?
Hey, man. Thanks again for having me. You guys do great things for the hobby. If anyone wants to speak hockey, there's my Twitter. Feel free. I will discuss hockey all day, every day. Don't forget Cale Makar He's going to be the generational Bobby Orr. And yeah, hockey is underappreciated and undervalued.
Awesome. Well, remember, we're live every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Pacific
10 Central
on YouTube.
Oh, there's a show in Sacramento on Saturday.
I'm going to get there. Yeah. I'll get there right now. So there's a huge show that's going to happen here in Sacramento Saturday, 9 to 4, the Crown Plaza Hotel off Madison and 80 on Date Avenue. Hit me up if you have questions about it or whatever, but they moved us to a larger banquet room, something about air conditioning, which is good because the one time we had a show there with no air conditioning, it sucked. This is a bigger room. I will have now 3 tables instead of 2 because of the bigger room. I'm super excited about that. I got that notification last night. And I was talking to the promoter who's run the show for as long as I've been going, so since 2012. He expects this to be the biggest show they've ever had and to see at least double the traffic. So I am very,
nice.
very excited to be there. And so it should be a great time. But yeah, if you're anywhere within driving distance of Sacramento or you're going to be in the area, come and check it out. I'll be there. I'll have some fun.
If you will be at the Dallas show, we're probably planning on stopping in maybe Saturday or so. Madonna signing, so I'm going to dig out a North Stars puck.
Nice.
And to that, next week we have another great guest on, Sam from Women of the Hobby / Hobby Hotline. Congrats, by the way.
Wait, hey, that tweet, I saw that tweet got deleted.
Did it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe not.
I remember the old days when we started that show.
But a great guest. She's got a great cause that she's working to showcase more women of the hobby. That I love the idea, and she seems to have a nice level head on her. So
awesome.
Talk to her next week.
Yeah. So remember, we're live every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Pacific,
10 Central
on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe and review our show on all platforms. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram about the cards. You can always follow Jeff at Slarzik. Is that how?
Oh my goodness, we're done. Sell ski, like I sell and then the ski.
Oh, yeah.
I got
it. Sell ski.
No offense, I thought that was an eye exam. I'm like, an eye exam? Heck, I know that guy.
Follow Ben at our trading cards. Follow Steph at Junkwax Twins. You always follow me at Big Shep 79. Please share your hobby stories, great pulls, and keep sending your questions our way. Keep collecting and keep investing your time with us each and every week. We'll see you all next week.